Getting medicine into the brain is one of the biggest challenges in brain research. But what if we could sneak past the brain's really strict security system to get instructions into the brain without surgery? I just learned that these little fat bubbles can do this. They're called lipid nanoparticles, and they kind of act like envelopes, safely carrying genetic instructions into the cell. Once they arrive, the envelope opens, allowing the cell to read the message. And if you can give a cell instructions, you can theoretically get it to do whatever you want. This could help treat disorders like ALS, Alzheimer's, sickle cell disease, cystic fibrosis, and other rare genetic conditions. But gene therapy itself isn't new. For example, the FDA approved a genetic cure for sickle cell disease back in 2023, and even earlier in 2017, they approved a treatment that helps restore vision in people with blindness. Now, that treatment uses viruses, which can also carry instructions to cells. I mean, viruses' whole strategy is to naturally infect cells by delivering their genetic material, so scientists thought, why not design viruses to help deliver helpful DNA? But one of the main issues with viruses for gene therapy is that they stick around for longer than we might want, so they're not really suitable for every treatment. It's hard to control them, which can be toxic for the cell. On the other hand, lipid nanoparticles are more temporary, so they don't really stick around too long. They're just little fat bubbles that deliver instructions to cells and then break down within hours or sometimes days. Also, you may have already gotten a lipid nanoparticle treatment without realizing it. The COVID vaccine used these fat bubbles to deliver the instructions to the body on how to fight the virus off. Here's the part that actually blew my mind. These lipid nanoparticles can cross into the brain, which is wild because the brain has a really highly selective security system called the blood-brain barrier, which is designed to block harmful substances from reaching the sensitive environment of the brain, but it also keeps out most drugs, which makes treating brain diseases really difficult. Only a few things can cross this barrier, like alcohol, THC, and conveniently fatty molecules, like the lipid nanoparticles. So instead of drilling a hole in someone's skull to inject a treatment right into the brain, we're now figuring out how to just give an IV injection right into the veins, and it can make its way to the brain that way. Of course, there are still some critical questions about side effects. One major concern that actually came up with the COVID vaccine is inflammation, which can lead to things like fever, fatigue, headaches, and muscle pain. So are lipid nanoparticles the future of medicine? There's certainly a lot of excitement and research efforts going towards this field right now, and if we fund this research properly, it can really help a lot of people that have incurable diseases that need it the most. But on the other hand, if this gene editing tool develops enough, I can also see it being used for evil. So for this, regulation will be just as important as innovation. Let me know what you think, and if you have any questions, and as always, follow for more brain facts.